Hello, everyone. Our countdown is down, but we will be starting at 12:02. So a little bit of time for everybody to join in. So yeah, start 12:02. Okay, hello all, and welcome to today's town hall. As always, we are recording and live streaming today's session. So if you have any trouble with Zoom at any point, you can always watch along on YouTube. We'll get started with some product updates before moving on to our Q&A session from the audience. So if you have any questions during the session, please in the Q&A function, which you can find at the bottom of your screen. We can't promise that we'll see it, so be able to respond. So definitely put it in that Q&A portion there. Okay, we'll show our disclaimer for a brief second. Okay, and then I'll hand it over to Andrew to kick off today's town hall.
Okay, hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about direct and in a little bit different way than we often do. So we occasionally get feedback, next slide please, that our town halls, we focus a little bit too much on shiny new features and not enough on the kind of sustained incremental attention and cumulative work that build a great product over time. In today's town hall, we're going to tell that story of patient progress. Yes, we also have a couple shiny new things to show you. Think of them as a perk for sticking around and listening to us. But those two are part of a longer story that started before a lot of you were probably ever hospitable users in the first place. So as unpleasant as it may be, let's think back to COVID. Those of you who are operating STRs then, not a pleasant time, I know. Many of you felt for the first time a different kind of risk, a platform risk. Booking platforms superseded their terms of service with you and generally sided with the guest on all cancellation requests, decimating occupancy rates during the pandemic. If you were running your own business, you weren't in charge. And that was a weird feeling. Sometimes, yeah, this was, for many of you, like I said, the first time you felt this. So you told us then that you needed your own platform. You needed a channel where you owned the relationship with your customer, where you could set your own terms of service, where you wouldn't be vulnerable to guests getting full refunds based on trivial issues or even completely fabricated claims. Having your own platform also meant that you got to keep more of the proceeds of each booking. But there was a catch. You didn't want to do this on your own. You weren't comfortable taking bookings from any stranger on the internet. You maybe had never dealt with a chargeback before, and you weren't super eager to learn how. It was nice knowing you had air cover to fall back on if a reservation ever went really bad. So that product that you told us to build for you, that became Direct Premium. It was not an easy product to build. And in full transparency, I mean, it really stretched this company almost to the breaking point to get this done. But we were confident it was the right product for the majority of our customers. So we made the very difficult decision back then to hold off launching what became Direct Basic until Premium was ready. And I think that was the right choice. Currently, 80.2% of you all that are using Direct are on Premium, and it's not even available everywhere. It's only offered in the US, UK, and Australia. So I think that was the right decision. And so we started on this journey many years ago, and we wanted to help tackle the challenges of running a direct business with you. The first thing was protection. How do you protect properties worth millions of dollars rented to strangers whom you might never see as the host? These guests will happily wait in line at a hotel lobby, give their ID and a physical copy of their credit card to the front desk to be scanned and checked for their likeness. But if you ask them to scan their ID from the comfort of their own device, wherever they are, it feels like too much friction. So all these protections were always at a cost. How do you protect your reservation income from fraud? We had a bit of a learning curve here, getting our way to sophisticated fraud controls. Now, we insulated hosts from that lost income as we learned by indemnifying all direct premium reservations from fraud chargebacks. And we still deal with a decent number of chargebacks. Most of our hosts that have the reservations that have these chargebacks never even know about it because we're defending you from those chargebacks. On building trust. So just as we protect our hosts from fraud, guests are also alert to their own fraud dangers. There are a lot of short-term rental scams out there that target guests. Every direct booking you take, you have to overcome this threshold. You have to convince the guests that they are safe booking through what is essentially your personal website. And how do you stand out enough to even get traffic to your personal website in the first place? Booking platforms bring you bookings. That's one reason they're able to charge high commissions. With direct, you are expected to do the work to market to your guests. Now, the first of these challenges is non-negotiable. We didn't launch direct until these protections were in place. The other two are the things that have been part of the long game. So in this town hall, we want to demonstrate how far we've come on those two, what impact it has on essentially your performance, our hosts, primarily measured in higher conversion rates and a growing volume of bookings across direct. But again, we started from very humble origins. And if we think back to what was launched, in beta, so not even to GA yet, it was very, very basic. We had a site template. It was not super attractive. We didn't have a cancellation policy manager. So every booking was non-refundable by default. And we didn't have all kinds of other features, including like property search and everything. Like it was very basic, but we had the protections in place. At this point, I'm going to pass to Abby, who is the product manager running Direct right now, to tell you more of this story and how it impacted the performance.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. So I'm going to take you all on a bit of a journey to show how we got from V1 of Direct to where we are today. And so we're going to start all the way back in 2023, when Direct became generally available to all users in April. And we started to gain momentum by ramping up new users quickly. But then in June, we launched the first of several milestone features that had a significant impact on conversions and thus direct booking growth. And that first milestone feature was cancellation policies. So, as Andrew said, when we first launched Direct, we had only one cancellation policy. So, all bookings were completely non-refundable after booking. And as you can imagine, in the world of Direct, where establishing trust is so critical, that didn't always lead to guests feeling comfortable booking your property. So we let you configure your own cancellation policies, and that had a big impact on conversions. Conversion rates are 18.2% higher when guests have a free cancellation period. And so that means that you can do all the work to get somebody to your site. They can pick out a property that looks good. They can pick out their dates. They might even start entering in some of their information. But they notice that if they click pay now, their booking will be completely non-refundable and they can't afford that lack of flexibility. So they don't move forward. Basically, 1 in 5 of your warm leads will walk away without a flexible cancellation policy. And then next, we set out to tackle one of the biggest challenges with Direct, which is distribution. So like Andrew said, we eliminated a lot of the barriers to getting started on Direct with Direct Premium, but without the big marketing spend that you get from listing your property on Airbnb, VRBO, it's hard to bring guests to your website. And so in August, we launched Google Vacation Rentals. And this has had some varying degrees of success based on the market. But on average, we see about 6% of our bookings coming from Google Vacation Rentals. That number is closer to 10% in a good month. But for some hosts, particularly in markets that are less saturated, this has been very impactful. For those hosts, we see Google Vacation Rentals bringing in 50%, even upwards of 80% of their direct bookings. Then at the end of the year, we launched a new feature that had a massive impact on bookings. You can see that almost vertical line there. This was just in time for the big bump that we normally see in the beginning of the year as people are home with their families for their holidays, they're booking their vacations for the new year. And so in December 2023, we launched multi-property search. If you take a second to think about how difficult it was prior to the release of multi-property search, you can kind of consider what a site would look like with multiple properties before search. So previously, guests would have to click into each property, scroll down to their calendar, check to see if their dates are available. If not, come back, select a new property. And so multi-property search really unlocked a major step change in performance for hosts. And this led to massive growth. So you all started 2024 with $2.6 million in gross bookings in January of that year. Now moving on to 2024. Early in the year, we made some incremental improvements like adding support for promo codes and introducing site maps, structured data, and meta descriptions to help improve the SEO of hospitable hosted sites to help more people find your site. And collectively, that had a nice impact. But the biggest impact came in July of 2024 when we released payment terms. So instead of having to pay hundreds or thousands upfront, guests could now pay in installments, and you could choose how those would work. So you still had the control there. And this had pretty significant reach. Today, 27% of our reservations are paid with payment terms. And as of this moment, payment terms are essentially financing over a $4 million float, which is money that guests get to keep in their pockets instead of perhaps on a credit card collecting interest. And we know now that a lot of these reservations wouldn't have even happened without payment terms. Today we see $50,000 plus bookings, $100,000 plus bookings. That just simply wouldn't have happened without the introduction of payment terms. Now, later in the year, we continue to optimize for conversion with some more improvements like guest reviews. So we started displaying your best 5-star Airbnb reviews on your Hospitable site. And we also started collecting reviews from your direct guests so we could show those too. We added Apple Pay and Google Pay, which bumps conversions, especially on mobile, and now actually accounts for 18% of our total payment volume. And we launched a pretty simple abandoned booking campaign that sends an email after guests leave the booking flow prematurely and encourages them to come back and complete their booking. And since we launched that campaign, we've recovered over $2 million in abandoned bookings. And that number is it's actually probably a lot higher because we count only bookings that convert 48 hours after we send out that email. So that simple booking campaign had some pretty tremendous success. And that led us to start this year, 2025, with a little over $5 million in gross bookings in January. And now this year, we focused on eliminating friction specifically at the most sensitive points in the booking flow. So in April, we took the booking flow from a multi-step process where guests are asked to enter a ton of information up front before they've even seen your house rules or cancellation policy, before they've even seen that they can pay with payment terms. And we took that to this, where we've consolidated the steps into 2 different steps. We've added trust signaling with your overall rating and information about that gives you credibility as a host. And we also emphasize the things that we've learned help improve conversions early on in the booking flow. So flexible cancellations and payment terms. And the conversion lift was beyond what we were even expecting. As a result of this new booking flow, guests were now 29.2% more likely to convert after they enter the booking flow. So once they enter the booking flow, they're now converting almost 30% more, getting to that point of completing their booking. We also completely refactored guest verification, which, as you can imagine, is a high friction drop-off point for many guests. We made it a lot easier for guests to complete this process because even though it is high friction, it is absolutely essential to providing the protection to you as a host. And if you were on Town Hall last time, you actually saw Alex complete this in under a minute under the pressure of being timed live in front of you all. So it's a lot easier now. And as a result, we are seeing 92% of guests complete guest verification. And so that led us to where we are today. And that is in this past month, so in June, we had $6.7 million in gross bookings. And that's almost 200% compound annual growth since June of 2023, so over those 2 years. And as our platform grows, we get to see you all grow direct as a significant part of your business. And so for some of our top performing direct hosts, they've seen a lot of success with direct. So for 155 of you, you've made over $100,000 on direct. For 39 of you, you've made over $250,000. 9 of you have made over $500,000. And 1 of you has made over $1 million. We actually just checked. That is over $2 million now for this particular host. And so you've seen some tremendous success with direct, and that makes us really excited. But we still have room to grow when it comes to this long game of building trust and optimizing conversion. So where do we go from here? I want to share some feedback from one of our customers, Sebastian, who gave us the hint of where we go in this long game journey. So before I share that feedback, just a little bit of background on Sebastian. His properties are located in Germany and Poland, and he hosts guests from all over Europe and likely other parts of the world as well. And he submitted some thoughtful feedback in the form of a feature request that I want to share and paraphrase a little bit on the next slide. So he kind of sets the scene for us. He says, imagine you're a guest booking an apartment. The listing details are in your preferred language, so you feel comfortable that you can communicate with your host. After you book, you get a booking confirmation message in your preferred language, and then all of a sudden you receive an automated message asking you to sign a rental agreement in a language you don't understand. And that rental agreement itself is in a language that you don't understand. And so you panic and you cancel your booking. Now, feedback is specifically for guests who book through Airbnb, for example, and it can actually book in their preferred language. But it brings up a key point for us in direct, and that's that we're missing out on an opportunity to establish trust and secure more bookings without having your site and your full direct booking experience available in the guest preferred language. And so with that, today we're introducing multilingual sites. And we're going to bring back Alex to give you a nice walkthrough of how this works.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex, and today I want to show you how we are tackling multi-language direct booking sites. So here on my screen, I have a beautiful website with all its content in English. But the problem is that my browser profile is set to prefer Spanish. So what I could do is I could go back to my dashboard as a host and go to direct. And here we just added a new option, languages. And here, this is a new place where you will be able to actually manage languages and translations that will affect your direct booking websites. As you can see here, we have English at the moment, but let's add some new languages together. Actually, one language we're going to add Spanish. So I'm adding Spanish and starting this process. This process will scan all the content from your direct booking sites and translate everything using AI. And once the translation is complete, we will rebuild all your direct sites. And while this is processing, this will take less than a minute. I also want to look at another piece of my direct booking business that I think will affect our customer trust in a significant way, and that's of course the rental agreements. And here, if we go to the rental agreement templates, I'm just opening the agreement that we have active here. We also added the option to add languages that will affect rental agreements. So clicking here and let's see, I can also add Spanish for rental agreements as well. And this translation will take place automatically. We are using AI for that as well. And the translation will actually look at the context, at the shortcodes, and we will also show translated prompts for your fillable fields. Yeah, I think this is done. Let's just quickly go back to direct languages. Yeah, everything is ready here. And now we are switching back to this website. And if I refresh, because my browser profile is set to prefer Spanish, I will get a direct website in Spanish. All the content you will see here will be in Spanish, and I just want to go and do a quick booking to show you that everything is already translated. So we are using our MPS, our property search tool here. Let's see if for tomorrow we can find something. Yeah, it's just me this time. Oh, nothing for tomorrow, but for sure on this property we can find something. As you can see, all the content here, the dynamic content and also the static content that builds the sites is already translated in the correct language. And let's, yeah, as I said, let's actually book something. Yeah, and move to the booking flow. And here the booking flow will also be hooked to the correct language and show the correct translations. I'll actually add my data here. Okay. Did I write it down? Okay. This should be correct. Okay, and for simplicity's sake, I'll choose Google Pay and accept and actually book this, because we also want to show you that the communication, the automatic communication will also go through in the correct language. Yeah, the reservation is now being completed, and in a bit I'll start receiving my confirmation. Let's see. Okay, so I have the email. Just let's see if I can put it here. Okay, so I just received the email. The email, as you see, is in the correct language. And from here, we can actually go to the guest portal, the app that we showed on our last town hall. Opening this up, and you will see that guest portal, like all the other parts that we've went through already, are in the correct Spanish language. And actually, let's go ahead and complete the registration process. And this will allow us to look at our rental agreement. Okay, I need to verify my email again here in guest portal, waiting for that email to come through. Let's see. Yeah, the email came through. Here is the PIN. And the rental agreement is now translated, is now properly displayed with everything in Spanish. I'm going to sign this with my name, just so you see the complete flow, and then moving back to the guest portal, to the main guest portal, you can see that the content here is also translated, like house rules and everything that you would expect. And just to have a complete demo, let me go back to the dashboard, to the host site, to the inbox, and look at this at this reservation. You will see, oh, by the way, I wrote my name wrong. You will see that the translation is in the correct language. We are picking the correct language. And this means that our AI and all our tools will actually understand that this language, this conversation is now in a different language. Let's see if we suggest something with AI, what will happen? Yeah, as you see, even the AI will know to suggest some relevant content in Spanish. With this, my part is done, and I leave you to continue with Andrew. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Alex, so much. Two high-profile demos, back-to-back town halls. Thank you. Okay, so where does that leave us? Available today, you can now have a multilingual direct booking experience in 3 new languages. You can go to direct and languages, or to your settings, and you'll see a new entry there for languages as well. And you can also translate your rental agreements into the same 28 different languages that are available for your messaging rules. That is available today for all customers, all plans. Everyone can now take advantage of this immediately after this town hall. What's next? So again, the long game, we're not done yet. There's a lot of work to be done on direct. A lot is happening right now, but sticking to this theme of improving conversions and growing your booking volume. So what Alex demoed tonight is the first version of what is becoming a proper translation product within Hospitable. For those of you that have strong opinions on how your content is translated, and you want to properly localize that language in your own way, we will be releasing a language editor very soon. We'll also be releasing support for more languages. These 3 were just a demonstration for today. One thing that we really wanted to release tonight, but unfortunately just couldn't get done in time, is branded emails on your own domain. Part of building trust is communicating from the same domain of your site, now the same domain of your guest portal as well. We will let you do that very soon. And a third feature that we are very excited about is non-refundable booking option for direct and for your other booking platforms, which will allow you to have the best of both worlds. So that higher conversion on refundable policies that Abby mentioned, and the ability to charge a premium for a refundable policy versus your discounted non-refundable policy, which gives a lower anchor price for you. So we think that'll be great to give guests the choice between a cheaper non-refundable policy and a more expensive refundable policy, and allow you to really maximize your conversions on the booking flow. Later, the projects that we will be focused on pretty much for the rest of the year: expanding direct premium to help protect hosts in more regions of the world. And a big one, a next generation site builder. This is going to be very exciting. We have been recruiting for a second designer position at Hospitable to help us out on this project. We have a few candidates that are in assessment phase now. There'll be more on that later, but that person is going to be helping us deliver beautiful sites that will help you build trust and stand out in the field. And with that, we will pass to our product updates, starting with Tim on security deposits.
Thanks, Andrew. So staying on the direct theme, actually. So security deposits are now live for all direct premium reservations. They're also live already for all Airbnb and Booking.com reservations. So this is for all hosts who are on the Host, Pro, Mogul, or Direct Premium plan, based in the UK, the US, or Australia. And you can head to Properties, Pricing, Security Deposits to try out the feature. And then in terms of what's coming next, so we will be making security deposits available for users in an additional 36 countries, including Canada, and then various EU and Asian countries also. That's all on security deposits. Moving on to devices. So the Kwikset lock integration is now available to all beta users. You can go to settings, preferences to enable those beta features if you haven't done yet, and then just go to devices to connect your lock, the same as any other brand that we integrate with. And then in terms of coming next, we have a upcoming private pilot for Sensi thermostats. So if that interests you, scan the QR code on the screen, sign up for the pilot, and then we'll get back to you. That's all from me. Over to Emily.
Thank you, Tim. All right, we have started work on owner stays. Today, we don't have a concept of owner stays at all. We've talked to our users, and what we see you guys doing is adding manual reservations, but putting in the wrong contact information because you don't want your owner to receive the same messages that you send your guest, or you don't want your owner to get smart lock code communications or whatever. So we are going to be releasing owner stays in early August, which will allow you to actually create owner stays from Hospitable and customize your owner's experience. Give them something different from what your guests experience. Along with that, first of all, let me just mention, we've really thought through all the nuances. Sending messages or not, a custom check-in message for your owner that's different from the guest, a different way to control the thermostat. This is going to pave the way for you to really define a special experience for them. And we've taken into consideration metrics as well. You'll be able to actually filter owner stays out of or into metrics so that you can understand maybe revenue lost because of a lot of owner stays, or understand how many owners are staying maybe a little too much and you'd like to limit their stays in your next agreement. On to the next one. Somebody laughed, but that's a real feature request that we hear. Okay, let's talk again about the owner's portal. We released this a couple of weeks ago and went into detail in a town hall. If you missed it, you can go back and watch that. At the end of the week or early next week, we are going to be releasing a calendar in the owner's portal. This will allow your owners to actually view the calendar for their property and see the reservations in that context instead. We're already showing statements so they can understand the reservations that happened in a given month, but the calendar just offers a different way for them to dig into that information. And don't worry, we're taking into consideration all of the customizations that you've already put into effect in the statement. So if you've decided that you don't want to show the guest name, we're not going to go put that on the calendar. So you're not going to have to do a lot of configurations here. And then once we get the calendar in the portal, we'll be allowing the owners to book stays themselves from the portal. That way they don't have to call you and ask for your permission. They can just do it themselves if it's something that you want to allow them to do. Following on from there, we're going to be tackling some much requested things. We've heard from many hosts that they can't quite use owner statements because maybe they do Airbnb co-host split payouts, or maybe you need to charge your owner a tax on top of the commission. Maybe it's a VAT or a GST. So these are two things which have kept several people, especially those outside the US, from using statements because these are very common in other countries. So we're going to be finally supporting Airbnb co-host split payouts on owner statements, which will allow you to properly share with your owners what they actually owe you, knowing that they've already paid you maybe for those Airbnb reservations through the Airbnb split pay feature. So stay tuned for that. We'll be sharing more in the coming weeks. And now I'll pass it back to, I believe, Gabby to talk about some events.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. So yeah, we have some exciting events coming up. So join us for our hands-on workshop in Orlando on September 15th. We'll help you set up and optimize your Hospitable account for true SDR mastery. So we'll cover practical tips, guide you through essential features on your Hospitable account. Your tickets will include lunch, snacks, and refreshments, and seats are limited. So make sure you get your ticket early and you can become a Hospitable master. Next up, we have a Booking.com workshop with the Booking.com team and our very own Andrew. So learn Booking.com's recommendations for what can be done to help your listing stand out from others, as well as our latest improvements that we've made for listing your STR on a Booking.com. And of course, we'll be back in 2 weeks, same time, same place, and with our next town hall. So tune in for more updates then. And note on the Airbnb workshop that was originally scheduled for last week, we have moved that to August. So definitely more details to come there. We will show some leaks and move on to our Q&A portion. So yeah, if you have any questions, please raise your hand and we'll bring you up on stage. So first we have Renita. Renita. Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I have a question. Are you able to select more than just one language to translate? Like if you wanted French and German on there, or just one language?
Yep, you can select all three of those languages, and that way your guests that speak any of those languages can see your site in their preferred language.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you, Renita. Next up, we have Ralph. Hi, Ralph. Hello, Ralph.
Hey, Laura, I don't think we can hear you. You're currently muted.
Oops,
Yes, here you
sorry
go.
about that, everybody. Okay, first of all, thank you so much for the excellent class today. I was full of questions on direct, and boom, it's like you all read my mind. So thank you for that. I was not aware of the Google Rentals thing. I saw you guys mention that earlier. And also, in the how we set this up, do you provide suggestions, or are there any resources for cool ways to market our own direct listings? I just had a client recently ask if they could have a direct booking, and I'm like, wow, so that's really a thing, right? So, do you all is there any guidance on the best ways to market direct listings?
Yeah, I think we have a ton of content on how other hosts are being successful with direct bookings, but we did a direct booking workshop a couple of weeks ago, and there was a ton of helpful tips there. So I think we should be able to share that recording with you. So
Oh,
you
that'd
can
be
tune
wonderful.
into that. Yeah, lots of helpful information there on how to grow direct.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
And I think it's probably already available on our YouTube channel, right, Gabby? I think. So
Yeah.
you can go to our YouTube channel and you will find plenty of content, including customer case studies from customers that have been successful working off direct. The thing is that marketing is probably the number one reason why pre-COVID times I was actually personally objecting to the idea of Hospitable getting into direct bookings, because I thought we would never possibly compete with Booking.com or Airbnb when it comes to marketing and advertising. And I think that was now I've learned it's really a wrong take. It's actually super easy to be marketing your direct booking website. You have guests that basically are looking for your own Airbnb, and they check your listing name on Google and they need to find a direct booking website. That's going to be meaningfully cheaper for them to go through Booking Direct rather than booking to the booking platform. You have your returning guests. They already have built a rapport with you. Why don't you basically, if they talk to you, go and talk to them about basically Booking Direct? Now, don't do that on the platform of the OTA. You have the guests coming over to you. And that's basically the thing about this off-platform policy that we believe is actually not about the host. It's actually more about the enterprise vendors that are actually really gamifying this and have really an impact on the bottom line on Airbnb. That's therefore protecting that marketplace. There are a few trips now. Google Vacation Rentals is a channel that we distribute. You also have Oofy as an API integration partner that you can connect to, that basically can help you secure some direct bookings as well. But you guys know your guests better than any that we could. We provide really the technical layer on the payment, on the liability side, on the underwriting, including to other direct booking website if you want to. The marketing part is really, you know your property, you know the amenities, you know the customers better than anybody else. So you know who to market these to. But frankly, you can just be there and wait for your Google for guests to be coming over just because they Google your listing name from Airbnb and they are looking for your direct booking website. And there are plenty of extensions like Directo that we are partnering with to also flag your direct booking website from directly from the booking platform website like Booking or Airbnb. So as they perform a search, they basically are aware of your direct booking website. Andrew?
Yeah, I would add one thing. I heard Ralph mention one of his clients was asking about direct booking, and just like from the property manager point of view, what we see some of our managers do is actually get a richer payout for them as well because you're doing the work of marketing, right? So that's something that we allow you to set up in the owner statement side is you can actually buy platforms, set a different commission level, take a fixed payment of $15 or $20 because you got a direct booking for that owner. They're going to get a richer payout too. They're not going to question that, but that's just another thing I would flag for the property managers out there.
Okay, thanks so much, Ralph. Now, we don't have anybody's hand raised now, so if you do have a question, please raise your hand. I did see there was some, oh, we got one. John, hello, John.
Hi, I had asked on the last town hall, and I've got a similar thing I've noticed while going through the direct booking process. I'm a secondary account holder on Hospitable. Our property manager is the main account holder, and on my direct page it says meet your host, Glenn, and I'm not Glenn. How can I have it mention my name?
Yeah, so right now we show the primary user's information there and their photo. We need to do that better.
I would love
You
that.
can't, yeah, you can't change that right now. It's coming from the primary user's information. We've definitely heard some feedback around that and needing to pull the image that displays there. Maybe actually giving you a way to configure that separately as well.
I completely agree, and I think I had mentioned with support also the email communication or the messaging communications starting out defaulted to the account owner, and if I don't catch it and choose it, it comes from them, and I had to explain to a guest why he got a message that was worded as though it was from me, but it was tagged as the account owner. And yeah, go in and change it, but if you miss it, it can cause a little bit of a branding and customer service hiccup. All right, I will cross my fingers that that one ends up on a feature list.
Yeah, for sure.
While you're still here, can you explain maybe your arrangement between yourself and the primary? Because it seems like you still want to be positioned as the one interacting with the guest, and that's not what we
Yes.
typically hear from customers.
Oh,
where
no,
basically you are in that case, if you are a secondary user, you would be an owner, so the client or a property manager. It seems that it's a bit of a different setup in your case.
Glenn, we had mandated property management hit us about a year and a half ago in the town we're in, and he is very open to allowing us to step in and handle the hospitality portion, and we have a great relationship. I have to talk to him on occasion to do whatever an account owner is required to do to make some things trickle down to my account, my secondary account. And then
Okay.
But
I think a lot of property managers are wondering, what does Glenn do?
Oh,
If
I
you are
mean,
in charge of the hospitality
he
thing,
does
that's a pretty
he
big
does
thing in this
many
industry.
he has a mix of properties, and a lot of them he does stand in and play the part of property manager and host.
Okay.
I mean, are you leaning toward, hey, John, just get your own account and kick him loose?
Glenn is the one paying us. You put
I
me
get
a bit in an
charged.
uncomfortable situation.
He
So
does
that's
charge me $10 a month.
okay. So you pass it on. I think there is probably a meaningful conversation to be had because it seems like you're very attached to basically be the one that is seen as the host. And basically you have to fight a little bit of software. We can always improve, and that's basically
And
that's being heard.
and I would
But I think
function
you
very
are
well.
aware.
I would function very well as the primary account owner, doing all the configurations and what have you, but then it would just be me with one property right now. I'm not a mogul yet.
That's fine. Everybody starts with one. It's a
Exactly.
great starting point.
I love your
Okay.
guys' interface.
Okay, I got it. Yeah. So I can understand the predicament. But yeah. Okay. Thank you for the feedback, and thank you for
I feel
explaining.
like this would be a thing that needs to be dealt with for more than just one singular person like me, having my name on being able to be configurable on some of the communications.
And that part is okay. I think for us, what I see is that you would have, for example, on Airbnb, a certain host associated with a certain listing, and if you want to build trust and you have a guest that basically is landing on the direct booking website, they will check basically that the information is correct there, so that basically it's aligned on the guest names. So that I think is something where it makes it's a little bit interesting for us to be solving amongst many other
Yeah.
competing priorities.
You might have bigger fish to fry.
No, it's an interesting thing and it makes people happy. I don't know how hard or difficult it is to make something happen, and then what are the other interesting things that we also have to do. But I think there is also some learnings that we are something that we are interested in hearing is also, for example, you have a setup, you want to be in charge of hospitality. There is a service provider, a property manager that's helping you running your listing for some
He
tasks.
handles all of the cleaners and maintenance things, so he does deal with some of this.
And I think there is something for us as software to basically make sure that you can do everything that you want without having to ask permission of the primary owner or the account owner, while at the same time you can still benefit from services that you would receive from that service provider.
Another scenario, as an FYI, cancellation policy, when I'm on that review and confirm page, he has set up just 24 hours after booking is the only time during which they can get, a refund. And I don't want that to be the case. So I have to work out with him because I don't think he ever addressed this. Direct booking has come along and he's not had anybody doing it yet. So that's another thing that I don't have control over, I don't think.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
John, we're not the blocker on that though, right? You can set a different cancellation policy for different properties. So you should be able to set that up if you can negotiate that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Now we have a few people adding up over to raising their hands to show up on stage. And the next one is, I think, a name that I know about, Francisco. Francisco, what's up?
Yeah, I need better lock systems. So right now we have we'll have like a building, and we have all these and right now the code. Okay, so we have a lot of community doors, and okay, I can go a remote lock and use a community door, but for our room doors, the only lock that's allowed is a Yale Assure lever lock that we can use. It's the only lever lock allowed, I believe. And those Yale Assure locks are terrible. And so the reason why I have to use the remote lock for these community doors is because you guys don't offer a connection with key and code. Because see, Schlage only holds 100 codes. And so a community door, especially when you guys have your 2 extra codes in there, sometimes can have 1,000 for like some of our bigger buildings, like 1,000 codes in there. And so I guess how soon is this remote lock integration going to happen? Or are you guys going to add more lock integrations to work with us? And I saw you had the Kwikset just now, but I've never used those. I don't know how reliable those are, and I don't even know how many codes those handle. So I sort of have some of my commercial buildings I need more.
Okay, let me play back to you. Hello, Francisco. So you are basically dealing with apartments that are basically behind a common entrance, and you need to load the code for your guests, not just on the lock of the apartment, the door that they're actually renting, but actually also on what you call a community door. So basically pool access to basically multiple apartments, multiple units. Is that right? The first part? Good. And then the only lock that basically is on that community step is basically the Yale Assure level lock. Basically is that right?
So it's kind of tricky. Well, let's say a building that has 37 rooms. So I have a building with 37, right? My community door is the front door and like an amenity closet. Okay. So right now I cannot use and I have to use remote lock because The only lock
Okay.
that I've found that can hold enough codes and work with a slam door is a key and code lock.
The
Okay,
key
so
and
remote
code
lock,
lock. So, okay.
yeah. Remote lock will integrate with key and code and work with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But remote lock used to make a lock, and I have that on all my doors.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've stopped making their lock.
Mm-hmm.
And the only lock that you guys will work with on remote lock is the Yale Assure.
Okay.
It's the only lock I can get to work.
So
Okay.
not
So I have
the
to-
Schleg. Okay.
yeah, the Schleg won't work, right? I wouldn't look, this probably wouldn't be a big of an
Okay.
issue if Schleg worked.
Emily, I don't know if Emily is basically the best smart lock consultant at this point, because it seems like there is a very tricky decision to be making, but probably can help with remote lock, I believe, at minimum.
Yeah, that's why I came on. So, all of our so we build our own smart lock integrations, obviously, that we have our connected, or excuse me, our supported smart locks in a help article on our website. But everybody else builds integrations to us. Now, we've been asking Remote Lock for some time to work on that, and they have committed to doing that. When they do that, in theory, you'll be able to use Remote Lock. They'll have an integration with us. They'll communicate codes to us, and then we can communicate that to the guest. So I would encourage you, if you want to stick with Remote Lock, to reach out to them directly. It sounds like you have lots of locks with them. That might motivate them to move forward. The general feature you're describing is something that we can do. It just sounds like you're limited because of the number of codes that need to be on a lock, and that, if you're not, well, one, we would need to use locks that we support, which sounds like might not be the case, and we can't really do anything about getting around those limitations. So
Well, like, I guess one thing that would help ease my pain was like if you guys had, because I use some of your own integration, like I use your Seam integration for a number of the places that don't require like this special lock from key encode. I mean, if y'all could, this would make my life a lot easier if y'all added key encode as a direct integration with you guys, with you all, if that's a possibility. They haven't. Go ahead. To see, they have commercial grade locks that I can use on front doors and like amenity rooms and like workout facilities.
Okay. Thank you for the feedback. I think we're gonna review that internally and discuss with Seam in particular if they can facilitate an integration, which I'm not seeing right now off the bat immediately. So for an integration with key encode, maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am, and then see what basically the conversations are between Seam and that particular vendor.
Yeah, or some other lock that hold more than 100 codes.
I think on Earth, I mean, I can appreciate the needs on the community side. I think what Seam is, for example, going towards is really dealing more with access systems, which I think is really the commercial grade that you also refer to, which is a lot more sophisticated than basically any kind of smart lock devices. And that's when you do that. We don't necessarily have a short-term plan on integrating with those either, but I think they also would mean that you have a large ecosystem of integrations to be facilitating your situation, which is a more intercom like systems than a simple lock that you're dealing with. Okay,
well,
thank you.
I want to stay with you guys. I want to stay with you guys. I'll do whatever we can take.
Stay with us, but think of your business, think of your company first, and do what you have to do. Thank you, Francisco, and we're gonna move over to the next one, which has an enchanting name, the Cabin Ferry Team. First name the. Hello, how can we help you today?
Hey, this is Jim.
Hello, Jim.
So it was great to be on stage today. So I have a little question about the direct booking insurance program. So I have been running through this, basically the first one that we've had to out of all of the bookings over these past few years. And to communicate between staff at Hospitable and staff through the Truvia, it is more of a big pain in the butt than it is to get the messages across to these insurance adjusters, so to speak. we had a property that it got just slammed, and we filed the claim and did everything we're supposed to do. And then I shamed the guest into saying, look, we've had to take this thing off the market for 3 weeks. And basically said, look, right, hook us up with something to reimburse the owners of these properties, because we have the insurance policy, but the insurance policy doesn't cover any sort of lost revenue from this, and they didn't even want to hear about it. So at this present time, I'm chit-chatting with the guys on the platform, and I just told them, I said, look, screw it, close this crap out, and I will cough this money up to the property owner myself, just because they are dragging their feet as your affiliate.
Okay, what's your question?
What can you guys do about fixing the process of the people who are processing the claim and being able to speak to them straightforward instead of having to go ring around the rosy for the last month and a half?
Okay, so that's a specific question on our insurance provider, Truvi. Abby and Don have been really talking aggressively with them to basically move the cases forward, because both companies have realized that there's definitely a little bit too much delay on bringing those conversations to an end. Not necessarily always a satisfactory end that you're expecting, but at least bringing this conversation to a resolution on our side. I think Abby can talk about that a little bit more detail than I can.
Yeah, we've had several conversations with Truvi. I think part of the frustration is exactly what you pointed out. There's so much back and forth, and our support team is kind of a middleman between you and Truvi, and the more parties we have involved, the longer it takes to get a claim resolved. So we are pushing Truvi to make some product improvements to make it easier for us to get you to submit your claims directly to them, so we're less involved as a middleman. But we still need the visibility into the status of the claims, because we want to advocate on behalf of our customers if we ever feel like a claim has not been fair. And so that's where we're trying to find the balance. We're a little bit unique in that way with Truvi, where we kind of need to be involved, but we also want you to be able to submit your claims directly to them. So we're expecting some product enhancements from them later this year to help with that.
Right now, the system is broken. It's broken really, really bad, because I couldn't even sit here and tell you the amount of hours that I put on, and I have, I don't know, 38, 37 properties or whatever it is on Hospitable. And if I have to go through this system with every single, little thing, then what's the purpose behind even having this when it is just blatantly proven in the documentation that was sent? And they're dragging their feet. And they say, well, you asked the guest, right, to cough up some money. Well, the money wasn't for me. The money is for the lost revenue, right? We set forward this. Truvi ended up reaching out to the guest directly. Okay, I would have had no problem reaching out to Truvi and been the advocate for my property owner for this one. But we're talking, a couple of $1,000s that we, right, did in damage. We've sucked that up as the property management company. We've sucked that up, right? We're not sitting here, right, letting the property just sit. If we would have walked away, this owner would have been screwed with a few $1,000s. Our cleaning teams are the ones who said, you know what, we're going to do this. We ended up getting an ozone generator and ran it for hours in this thing because these people smoked. And Truby's not sitting there doing anything, right, but stirring the pot and just dragging their feet. And that's where I want Hospitable to either help me talk to them or talk to them on our behalf. But I can guarantee you, this claim that we have is a joke.
Okay, Jim, little bit of seriousness here. You've been spending hours. We have been spending hours too. This is us also be having a skin in the game in every step of the process. Is that we at this point in time can be the only person interacting with Truby to be sharing information and sharing those claims. So the number of hours that you have spent on this case, we have spent too internally as well. So we have every incentive that a company could be having on making sure that this process is streamlined to the bone, and if minimum, basically having a direct line of communication. We've escalated that feedback multiple times over months to Truby. They know that we have a history of shutting down vendors and relationship with vendors if they are not able to deliver. You heard Abby talking about a refactor or rather reimagination or consolidating a lot of customer feedback over identity verification. That was because we were not satisfied with the identity verification provider we had before. So they know that they have to step up and they have to improve their products, that we can work with them and our customers can be working with them directly. That's on the technical side. So that basically experience and process of filing a claim is basically something that can be streamlined a lot faster, a lot shorter, and frankly, not taking therefore any of our resources internally so that they can be focused on anything else rather than basically playing the back and forth between Truby and our host. That's the second line. The third line, we don't know, I do not know, I'm not familiar with all the facts of the story. I hear ozone machine, there's probably some smoking, there's probably something involved there. And you also refer to loss of revenue, loss of income. There are clear terms on the insurance and what it basically provides. Loss of income is a very big ask for a service provider like Truby, and we have some people in the chat saying that basically this is included in the property owner insurance, etc. So this is really always by default a stretch. You can ask a lot of things, but you need to be ready to hear a no on occasion whenever there is an ask like this that is well beyond the terms of the relationship that we have, which is really about protecting your properties from damages. Smoking is a difficult one to evidence, to have all the stuff there. They do have the experience and we do have the experience. So we're doing our best to basically fix that. Loss of revenue is a stretch.
But we didn't ask for loss of revenue. We did not ask for loss of revenue.
I thought you said you were claiming for the loss of income.
No.
Okay, so in that case, that's within the terms.
No, we reached out to the guest and shamed them shamed them. We shamed them, okay. and they cash apped one of our team members, right, to be able to pay that forward to our owners.
Okay.
We shamed them, and we made these people basically feel bad on what they had done. Well, they admitted that they did the damage. It wasn't, I mean, you can look up the damage claim. It's on there. It's the only one that we have.
Jim, I will be reviewing your case personally. I will ask the leadership of Truby to explain what's going on. I'm sure you have provided all the documentation on this, and we'll basically take that offline. I will ask for your email address, and I will reach out to you separately so that we can investigate. And I'm very happy to advocate on your behalf, as it is for Hospitables, to basically be making sure that this thing is sorted. However, I have an agreement with them, and I want to make sure I understand what's actually at stake here.
And I don't want you just to advocate on my behalf, but I'm talking
about
every single one of our clients, every single one of the clients that are on Hospitable. I love Hospitable. It's freaking great.
Jim,
but it's not just me.
It's not just you. It's not just you, Jim. It's not just you. It's basically you are on the back of a lot of pain, but the thing is that stories that are actually personal are far better than statistics. You can hear the pain I can hear the pain that basically you are facing, and 100 people that basically facing the same pain is just reduced to a statistic. If you can see the specific pain that a client of ours has been facing, this is a lot more convincing than a lot of things. And it's actually a lot easier to fix than just fix that one thing that we need to do better and how we can do better than actually fixing 100 problems at once, because it seems sometimes a little bit overwhelming. So that's why I play stories rather than statistics, because in down the road, you don't care about being a statistic. You want your problem. I'm advocating for my company. And in doing so, I get the privilege of advocating for yours amongst all the customers of Hospitable that are dissatisfied with the experience with that specific provider. They know they have a fire under their butt. They need to deliver like yesterday. And that's my pleasure to be advocating on your behalf.
Well, I appreciate that, because I think we 100% need to make sure that a company like this, that is, a subset of Hospitable, this puts it, for the last 6 weeks, I've been dealing with Edmond, a poor guy.
A thing about mental health is basically when it's basically men reminiscing, they relive the same experience, the same trauma, whereas it's not different. It's different for other people. So I'm gonna give you a chance to move on. We're gonna bring this town hall to an end. We'll get this sorted. I will have my information to basically get a little bit of things on this case. And yeah, we're a bit over the line. I'm sorry, this one I feel like I was a little bit chattier than usual. So asking questions about John with not Glenn, and about Jim with definitely having some insurance issues, not so much insurance issue, but issues with a certain service provider that we are using above the line. Now, first thing, companies that do not have town halls are soft, because they do not get the privilege of having those kind of questions on the spot. And I'm very happy to actually face those, because we get an opportunity to do better tomorrow. I was saying yesterday. We also were better from yesterday. And makes you wonder what are other CEOs in the industry doing in particular to basically be improving the product, because they do not show up on their customer calls like this one. Now, you're probably going to end up this and remember about those 2 interactions. That's great. However, I want you to check it out on your product, because the team worked hard to get this over the finish line for this town hall. You can now have a little bit of a more international product. You can translate your direct booking website. You can translate your guest portal. You can translate your rental agreements all in one sweep and set it up on multiple languages. Now, I really appreciate the fact that the team didn't demo French, because there was enough French for this town hall anyway. But the point of it is we are working on a long game. When the product is finished, everybody goes quiet. It's too complex. It's too annoying. People leave within a heartbeat. When there is pain, there is growth, and we're there to grow with you. This product is never finished. It actually is somebody from the industry busting his nuts too, that basically told me about that. 200% growth a year on direct. Join the bandwagon, have fun doing so, because it is actually fun to do so. You hear about the disasters, you'd never hear about that actually host that's making $2 million a year on direct booking. That was for a very long time on a Hospitable direct booking website. So yes, if they can do it, you can do it. There's nothing special. You can absolutely do it and have that one reservation on direct booking website and just basically get a little bit more sovereign, a bit more independent in doing so. Okay, thank you so very much. See you in 2 weeks. Andrew, can we have a little bit of a word on what is actually going to be the subject for 2 weeks from now?
I think we're going to call it like a V2 of dynamic pricing. So I don't want to give the reveal away, but there will be some new features for dynamic pricing that make it, I think, a fit for a lot more of our hosts.
I'm just going to hint that that's nothing to do with pricing. So
nothing to do with pricing.
I mean, it has to do with dynamic.
Kind of. It's dynamic,
guys. It's dynamic.
It's an enigma. It's mysterious.
Okay. Thank you so very much. Have a great rest of your day. See you in 2 weeks.